Live 365. Hey, hey, we are live 365. Hey,
Hey,
We
hey,
live,
we are
baby.
live 365.
Gotta excuse Larry. He's
Hey,
trying to send a tweet.
hey, we are live. He's trying to tell y'all.
What's going on with you?
Nicely done, Derwin.
We
Nicely
are
done.
live, ladies and gentlemen. Live and in color, for real color. Like, look at all this melanin on the screen right
You see it popping?
here. Ever since I can remember, I've been popping my collar. What's up, good people? Live here at Esports Extra, the only live call-in sports show talking traditional sports and esports. Larry Ridley here at SNY TV, little NBC Sports, little Madden NFL, little NBA 2K League. We'll take your phone calls, 877 853-5247. Meeting ID is esports extra. That's 377-678-9872. Hit that pound button twice to join the show. I got a cast of characters with me, a gaggle here, a plethora of beautiful people right here. We'll start with OG King Kurt. He's in Manhattan. OG, talk to me.
hey, what's good, man? A lot of stuff going on. Just happy to be here.
Sounds pretty good. D-Dubs, drinking now. You swimming in the fountain of youth still, man?
All day, every day. I'm ready.
Yeah, that baby skin looking good, that head looking fresh. That's what I'm talking. Boy, you look fresh as a Skittle. That's what I'm talking
You
about.
know what?
Hey, Willie, what's up, baby? DFW.
Yes, sir. We are here. It's not as warm as it's been in the past, but we're here looking forward to unpacking all the things that's been going on.
Man, I'm a little worried about you, man. You've been quiet pre-show, so I'm gonna keep my eye out on you, man. I'm looking for
Please
that A Willie, man. What's Siobhan? I said
Please do.
Siobhan in the house.
The
What's Siobhan in Georgia?
bosses, hey, bosses.
That's a man right there that knows what he's supposed to be doing. Go get Jordan and Siobhan. We'll talk to her in a second. And then the baby girl. She is the queen of esports extra. She's your queen to be.
I
What's
love
up,
that.
Nene?
I love that. Nothing's up. It's what a time to be alive.
To be
Right?
alive, for real. I mean, dang, you ain't lying, man. We're literally like, I could walk to your place. I'm literally like 2 or 3 minutes away from you.
Yeah,
So
what's good?
I hear you, son. Hootie hoo. Good stuff. Good stuff, guys. Hey, important show. Let's go ahead and get the laughter out the way, but got some important topics to talk about. Of course, we're going to get into the NBA or the Game Fives. The
Hold
tree
up, LL. Hold on.
Bring the babies in. Yes, sir. Let's do this.
I like
Jordan, what's up?
Jordan,
Tyson,
what's up?
Jackson, Jordan, Game 6.
Oh, hey, Siobhan. We talk about you all the time, so it's nice to actually meet you.
Yeah, we do.
This is a family show. I like
You
this.
as well, yeah.
It's a family affair. It's a
Yeah.
family affair.
Hey, Jordan.
Yeah, this is a big day for you.
It's a big day for me.
Hey, Jordan, these
Yeah.
are for you. These are for you, Jordan. The Olympic days for you, baby.
He's
Put your name on it.
flexing. No one wants to see your shoes. Jordan, why is
Got
this a
your
big
name on
day
it.
for you?
It's a big day for me because this is my first day of school.
Oh,
Oh,
Nice.
oh yes.
hey,
Was
but
it? Did you have a good day?
Yeah.
What'd you do, Jordan? Come on. What did y'all talk about? Esports?
Well, we did see the game go off.
Yeah.
We weren't playing anymore.
Oh,
That's true.
okay. The kids are staying in tune.
Good
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
hey,
Well,
that's
keep-
my parents' first day of school too.
Yeah, my son's too. First day
Yeah.
Until
yesterday.
they stop. Until they change.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow.
Apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Right.
Yeah. Wait, which tree? Which one? The daddy or the mama?
We're both on the same page there.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's what I'm talking
First
about.
day of-
Supporting the people. We
First
got
day
to.
of first grade.
Mhm.
First day of first
Awesome.
grade. That is awesome. Well, you have a good time in first grade. Keep up doing a good job with your work. Listen to your teacher and listen to your mommy and daddy, and you're going to be Gucci. Is that cool?
Okay.
You promise you're going to make good grades this year? Give me a fist pound right into the camera. Fist pound. And then you blow it up. Yeah, blow it up. One more time. One more time. One more time. Come on. Pow. Blow it up. There we go. All right,
Thanks
Jordan.
for letting her come on.
Every day. This
Thanks
is
for
her time
coming.
slot right here every day. Good
This is
stuff.
cute.
nonsense, all right?
You better get your last wave, Jordan. You better.
She was waving like Whitley in a different world. Remember that? The
Oh,
Queen?
snap.
Yeah, I appreciate you all. I definitely appreciate it. Thank you.
No, hey, she's family, man. Let's go ahead and dive into this, guys. We'll start with the NBA Game 5s were canceled within the last hour. The Milwaukee Bucks did not show up on the court in their Game 5 against the Orlando Magic. Also, the rest of the Game 5s were canceled. We got the OKC Houston game. Also, Portland and Laker Game 5s canceled tonight. Huge news out of the NBA. We talk about kneeling and Durham, you and I, we like to joke about it. Well, not joke about it, but we get into some back and forths, with Cap and things. This right here is what I like to call tangible change. This is more than kneeling. This is more than an athlete. This is a moment. This is momentum. This is a movement. This is all of those things that we talked about. Right now, the freaking Bucks are trying to reach the DA in the state of Wisconsin.
Crazy.
That's how serious this has gotten, that Adam Silver had to shut down the league. If the players don't know now you know. Y'all got all the power. That's what I'm talking about. We got to start with our resident WNBA, or the W represent right here, Renee Montgomery, my sister-in-law. Maybe soon.
Listen.
Go ahead.
Speak it into existence.
Go ahead.
Oh, he's a smart man. That's why I threw him the alley-oop. But the thing about it that's happening is the WNBA players are already reacting. I've heard that there's team meetings going on. We already know all the games for the NBA are postponed, so that's a done deal. But the WNBA players have been about that life, so I expect to see more of the same when it comes to that. I don't know, for me, it's just a beautiful thing, and this is a tragedy. Let's be clear. This is a very huge tragedy. We're thankful that Jacob Blake didn't become a hashtag. He's paralyzed. And if that could be something to be thankful for, I'm just thankful for that he's here. But let's be very clear that the players are showing that they're fed up. You got players cussing, they're tweeting, they're calling the DAs, and everybody's like, well, what's going to happen with them sitting out? What is that going to do? They're going to call the DA. Can you imagine being the local government that shut down the NBA?
I know, right? And we've heard it. Say her name, Breonna Taylor. We know all the names, Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd. It's starting to wear on guys. You saw LeBron James talk about, man, this is a lot for us as Black people, and trying to advance and trying to make sure that our voices are heard. When I sat down, I was like, holy cow, the NBA is shut down. Hey, Willie, I never thought that I would say that the players themselves would boycott the games trying to make a stand. This is making a stand. You talk about all the war analogies and, trying to make your last stand. This is one in the sporting arena.
A couple of things. So first off, being here in Texas, one of the things that you see quite a bit.
We got a phone call. Let's take a phone call. We'll come back. I got a feeling we're going to have some people calling in today. We'll take your phone calls live here. esportsXTRA 877-853-5247. Meeting ID esportsXTRA. Hit the pound button twice to join the show. Caller, you're on the air live here on esportsXTRA. Talk to us. Unmute him.
How you doing, man?
How you doing? Who am I speaking with?
How you doing, man? My name is Britton Hughes, man, from Fort Worth, Texas, man.
What's up, Fort Worth, Texas, down there on the Metroplex? Talk to us, man. What's on your mind?
How you doing, man? I just wanted to call, man, and just get the whole Black Lives Matter thing out in the air, man. I feel like as a Black man in this country, man, it's too hard for us to get just to an average lifestyle, let alone get to a above average life where we're not struggling and living beyond our means, man. I just think it's about time that everybody's treated equally and everybody's looked at as a human being and not the color of our skin, man.
Yeah. Your thoughts here on the NBA, the Game 5s being canceled, and the power that the NBA players are wielding right here to basically and effectively shut down the playoffs, at least for today.
I think it's necessary, man. Those young men and older guys, man, they have a position of power as far as the stance they have, the platform they're on. So I think it's a great thing, man. I think it's great to see that everybody's together with the same cause. I think it's great that the NBA is not trying to fine those guys or anything of that nature for taking a stance. I think it's well overdue, man. It's necessary.
All right, good stuff, man. I really appreciate you watching and listening, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Hey, dude, make sure you check us out Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursday, man. And we value your feedback and your calls, and make sure you just holler at us anytime, man, that you want to talk sports or anything else that's on your mind. Okay, brother?
All right, thank you, man. I appreciate you guys.
No problem, man.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for watching, man. Spread the word as well down there in the
That's
DFW.
awesome.
As we were saying, hey, Willie, thank you for the phone calls, guys. If you want to get to us live, we're going to go to about 8:15 today. That's my obligation today. Can't go much past that because all of us have something to do today, not just Renee
Thank
Montgomery.
you.
We got your back like chiropractic.
Oh, Renee got something to do.
We know where they got something. It really got something to do too. The Cheesecake Factory closes at 9, guys, and I got to get my order in.
Oh
strawberry
my
shortcake
God.
today.
Pineapple upside down for me.
Cheesecake Factor every day.
Movie
Come
night
on,
tomorrow.
man.
Movie night tomorrow. I got you.
You coming?
I got you. Yes, movie night tomorrow. I think we're gonna get it done. I'll definitely bring you whatever you want. Hey, Willie, talk to me, dude. You were saying about the NBA Game 5s being canceled league-wide today.
Yeah, a couple of things here. So the first thing is, for all the people that look at athletes, and this is for the shut up and play or shut up and dribble people. In 1980, this country actually boycotted the Olympics because of the Cold War with the Soviet Union. So politics and sports have always mixed. Again, we're talking about a league now that is dominated by people that look like us primarily. And there was a time where we couldn't play in the league. That was a political statement. So the fact that politics and sports have always been intertwined and always will be. And then secondly, for the players, I'm also proud because, again, I've referenced this moment before on this show. There was a point in time where there was an owner of an NBA team that was saying some very disparaging things about Black people while he was pillow talking with his Black girlfriend. And all the players did was threw their warm-up jerseys down at half court and turned them inside out. And they actually played. So the fact that the players are saying, you know what, this time we're not going for it this time and using their platform for real action, I just think it's something that should be applauded and something that we should get behind as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There, OG, you're part of the NBA umbrella with the NBA 2K League. How shocked were you when you saw NBA Game 5s, plural, canceled? Like I was thinking maybe the Bucks, but the rest of the league going along with this, love the camaraderie, the brotherhood that they're showing in the association.
Yeah, I mean, I was shocked. I actually had just did an interview, and then I was trying to fix me something to eat before this show, and then I looked up and seen that it was canceled. I mean, we was talking before everybody got in here, and I was pretty much saying that it's a stressful time because it's like we're watching as a kid. We used to see pictures of people who look like us getting hung from trees and getting sprayed with water hoses and everything like that. And
dogs.
The whole nine. And now here we are, 2020, and we're witnessing the same thing, over. I mean, and it's magnified now. I mean, because I think over time, I've mentioned this, is that we've been given, a little freedom here and there to pad a lot of situations, but now it just seems like, man, nobody no longer cares. It's like what A. Willie was saying, it's only political when somebody looks like us says something. But if it's anybody else, it's business as usual, and it's a problem. I mean, it's really painful because, like I said, amongst watching everything that's going on, you read the comments and you start to see how people really feel.
Yep.
And that's the disheartening part. I mean, like, of course, I mean, we always hear these type of statements like, I have white friends, and particularly like now, look on Facebook, because that's normally where my IRLs is at. And normally, like, when the kneeling is going on and everything like that, they're hoorahing America and everything and all that. But as soon as a person of color is being violated, it's quiet. It's quiet on the timeline. And I mean, it's like people letting you know how they really feel at the end of the day. And I don't know. I thought it was just going to be Milwaukee at first.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's close to home, but I think, as much as I troll LeBron and everything like that, just for picks, I mean, he's leading the NBA right now.
He's that dude. Let's not make no mistakes about it. Like, look, most of us like Jordan on this panel here. I'm a Jordan guy. I wear sneakers. I've never bought any LBJs. Probably never will. But you can't take away from who he is as a man, a husband, and a father. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to that, I'm behind him 100%. He's still probably one of the top 3 or 4 greatest players in the NBA ever. But he's just not number one, that's no slight to him. Hell, I'm not the best sportscaster. So, I mean, I'm not offended by that crap. So I'm with you on that, right? Go ahead, OG.
It's just a tough time. I mean, here I am. You know, I've been spending a lot of time away from my kids. I got a young son. I mean, you know, I'm constantly finding myself telling him how important it is to do this and do that or whatever. And still, at the end of the day, it may not be enough.
The talk.
Yeah, it may not be enough. I mean, I think I'm pretty successful. I haven't committed any crimes. I don't have a record or anything, and still I could be at jeopardy of anything. I mean, so it's not a good feeling. It's not cool to watch because at the end of the day, we see the narratives right in front of it, and it's like we're being teased. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's exactly what it looked like. I mean, you know, white people do things, and we've witnessed, and they walk away from it. We do things, and
17-year-old took an AR-15 to a
on video, and I mean, it's like. When you see
this man can't walk to his car, but this guy can walk to a protest with a damn machine gun.
Yeah, you see a person of color
taking the Burger King.
The first thing that
9 people in the church.
The first thing that happens is like they start running down the rap sheet, like that calls for him to get shot in the back 7 times.
Well, if Jacob Blake would have just followed directions from the officer, like that's a reason to shoot a man in the back.
Yeah, like I mean,
stop playing.
Yeah, it's just crazy, man. I say I'm really all over the place emotionally right now because some things just don't make sense. And I mean, somebody I don't see why it's so hard to get along at the end of the day. But I know it's people who they never wanted to see the world change. They never wanted to see any of us sitting in the positions that we're in or doing anything like that. I mean, a controlled environment for most was better, as long as they were pushing the buttons. And now. It's changed, like then the narrative changed, and it's just a sad state right now.
Well said, OG Ivan Curtis. Let's bring in D-Dubs down there, man. I love hearing your voice. You think outside the box. I want to hear your thoughts on this. NBA Game 5's canceled, dude. Like plural, like nothing, nada. Nobody showed up on the court. The Bucks are on the phone right now with the DA.
Yeah, I don't even know where to start. I could be all over the place too. First,
we got time.
I don't know, man. I always have different views about certain things. I normally don't necessarily follow everyone else, so I have a different viewpoint of it. But first, last night when I heard about, I think it was Kyle Lowry, Toronto, I was hearing rumors about them boycotting Toronto, and I said to myself, like, what is that going to do? I didn't get it. Like, what was that going to do? And then today, Milwaukee decided they were going to boycott. But now the whole league.
Well, it started with George Hill. Remember, he was really the first one to say something.
He's like, I don't even want. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, actually, it was George right before Van Vliet. But he was like, I don't even know why we're here. Mm-hmm. So this was right after Mr. Blake was shot. By the Kenosha Police Department.
So just seeing everyone band together is a beautiful thing. If you're trying to get change, this is, I think, a good way to try to do it. And I commend everyone getting on board, the whole league, all the games today. And then I was watching Rachel Nichols earlier today, and we saw Mark Spears. We know Mark Spears.
Yep, it's our guy.
NABJ Sports Task Force former president. Our guy. When he speaks, I listen. And he talked about, we don't know when they're gonna play basketball again. Honestly.
Well, they're talking. They probably won't play tomorrow, which will lead into the Raptors and Celtics with the Game 1 tomorrow, Eastern Conference semis. But there's one NBA player I saw a quote that we might not play again.
Right.
At least for the rest of this season.
So that kind of answers my question, as far as what is this going to do, and if they don't play at all, that's a major statement for a league. They fought so hard to get back during the pandemic, and now just shutting it down for this. I could ask the question, why now? Wasn't George Floyd enough? Why with this particular incident, with this video, we've seen other videos before.
It's the straw that broke the camel's back. It's always one
Maybe.
incident, right?
Yeah.
Possibly.
Well, no, I have actually having to answer that. I
Okay.
know the answer. So originally their response to George Floyd was that they had to put Black Lives Matter all over everything, that they were going to kneel, and that they were going to talk about it and make sure the topic stayed relevant. That was
And
what
we're
they
going to
were.
be some initiatives too. And
There were
money
some
going to
initiatives
yeah.
too. So that was the measures they were going to take, making sure the topic stayed relevant. And then when another incident happened, they felt that that wasn't enough anymore, like that, and that they need to take it up a step. So that's the language I'm hearing about why this one, as opposed to why did because a lot of people are asking the question, well, if you guys were going to the boycott, then why didn't you just not play in the first place? And that was the answer I think that I saw somewhere.
Well, conditions change, folks. I mean,
Yeah.
we're change our minds. Renee, let me get your thoughts on this sacrifice.
Yeah.
Just what are these guys sacrificing right now? Because this is not like these guys are making millions of dollars. They don't have to do this, but to use the power of the platform right here. What is how large does this speak to what they're doing here? How impactful is this right now?
It's crazy because I always go, when something happens in the present, I always like to go back. And if you recall, when the NBA stopped playing, that's when everyone took coronavirus serious, right? Like we had all heard about it. We had all known that this was a dangerous virus. But the moment the NBA said, we're not playing any longer, everyone was like, whoa, this coronavirus is a serious thing. Like, it almost gave you this shock. So I think the players understood that same ripple effect. And now it's like, okay, we're seeing a lot of chatter that, oh, he was insubordinate. The cops were behind him telling him. And so the NBA players is like, oh no, y'all not taking our interviews, our protests as far as taking a knee. Clearly the message is not being received. You're not taking it serious enough. So I think it's beautiful, when somebody drains the life out of you. And I think a lot of players, they keep on using the same language. I'm tired. I'm sick of it. That's for somebody, that's language when you feel like you've been dealing with something for a long time and nothing's being done about it. So the players are tired. Like they're tired and this is a result of it. And changes will happen when money gets hit.
There you go. There you go.
When they start hitting the pockets, that's what I said. Imagine being in the state of Wisconsin. Like imagine being them, because now the whole world is like, what you going to do?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Hey, Will, let's get you in here real quickly. We'll let everybody dive in before we move to the next topic. Just the impact that this is going to have in our communities, and the fact that they're on the phone with the DA right now. Crazy. I was like, wow, we talk about flexing it. It's nice and cute when we got our little shoes on and got our little cars and doing our little TV shows. Good point. Hey, Will, streams, but this is a major flex right here. Hey, Willie.
No question. And, being down here in Texas, one of the things that you see quite a bit when you see bumper stickers is you see this phrase, freedom isn't free, right? Mm-hmm. And that applies for everybody until you start talking about us. Because, and then once we start making sacrifices and things of that nature, when we start following that same language, okay, freedom isn't free, these guys are willing to sacrifice. Now it's something totally different attached to it. So that is part of it. And then for me, the other thing too is, and this economic standpoint, this country is set up where a certain group of people don't have to interact with anybody for success, right? We have to interact with everyone to be successful. So if those people don't have to interact with us from an economic standpoint to be successful, guess what their idea of who we are comes from? TV and music.
Second class citizens.
So with that being said, once it comes from them, right? When a cop that's doing the things that he's doing goes out into the community to work, he's taking those attitudes that he sees on TV and hears in music and sees on the news and thinks that's how these people are. So that's how I have to deal with these people, right? So with that being said, that's why it's also important about the images and things of that nature. Prime example, I'm a big hip hop person, right? I'm going to say this. I'm a big hip hop person, right? When I was listening to the music and when I was young, Queen Latifah literally had a song, and excuse I'm not going to say the word because I'm on here with a woman, but she literally started the song and she said, "Who you calling a B?" Right? That's the first thing she said.
Unity.
Right? So, right? So that's the first thing she said. So with that being said, with how influential that music is, that's communicative to people. That's communicative to our women, right? Now that has been replaced with a completely different message. I'm not against that message because it's up to you to listen to it or not. The point is there isn't balance. There isn't an alternative, right? Which leads me to my bigger point. We are really not in charge of our own destiny. We have to ask other people for permission to exist. So even when people help us and they are considered quote unquote allies, they look at us as if they are doing us a favor because they have been conditioned and socialized to think that we are less than them, because every opportunity that we have to ask someone for that opportunity. So it automatically puts in people's mind that they are automatically superior to us, even when they think that they ride with us, right? So that's another issue that we have. So I'm going to say this: when we have 29 messages that have been delivered at that, okay, players, you guys can wear this. And the closest we get to economic reform is group economics, but we have flat out education reform on the back of a jersey. That's something to think about.
Yeah. I also sort of equate this to what our parents and grandparents went through in the 50s and 60s when they were boycotting. There needs to be some, I don't know if it's shared sacrifice, but we all need to sort of band together. We can all do something. If we show that we have the power of, our economical power, the purse strings, the pocketbook there, I think we can sort of bring these people down a peg or two to let them know us as a people, we have power too. And we need to start wielding that as a people together. And I love to see what the NBA guys are doing. They're showing without us, you have no league. Now, we all understand the owners. You guys pay for this. That's absolutely true. You have the power. But good luck putting some other guys out there to play basketball. I don't want to watch Derwin play basketball. I love you, I'm not watching you play basketball. I'm not buying a ticket to watch you play basketball. I love you, Renee. But yeah, I'm not. Well, I'll watch you play basketball. I can't say that about you. We will watch you and pay for you to play basketball.
Can I add to that, to what A. Willie was saying though? It's like we suffered hundreds of years of being oppressed. And then down the line, as things started to look
401 years to be exact.
Yeah, and it got to the point where we were given more opportunities, but after years of being without. And like what happens is like even what A. Willie is saying in the music, it's like we're forced to like, if you want this, then you got to perform this and you got to say this and you got to do this. And therefore we're pitting against our own people and our own culture. And that's really what it came down to. When we're talking about banding together, it's hard to band together when you got this poor generation of Black folks, and this generation of Black folks didn't suffer as much. And then you got some dead smack in the middle, and we all over the place. And it's hard to come together when all our minds are thinking about 100 different things. I mean, I'm thinking now during since the whole pandemic started, like, what does it matter to have a nice car? What does it matter to have designer clothes and designer shoes and different, like now it's time
still
to
a black man. You're still a black man too.
It should be the time to be resourceful and start making sure we can all defend for each other one time or another. Like and I'm saying this as an older guy now, I mean, who really never cared that much about materialistic things, but now I'm crunching on to everything. And if I don't have to have it, I don't get it. If I don't need it, I don't get it. Like, I mean, and now I'm trying to stress that to my kids and everything like that, because the world is shifting in a way that we don't know where it's going. And at the end of the day, it's not like we talking about going to get trades and different things like that. And you look at the world now, like it's a lot of people out of work, and it's a lot of people not making money.
Social change is not enough.
Yeah,
exactly.
Social change is not enough.
I think that we all agree on that. Go ahead, A. Willie, real quickly.
No, that's all. That was my point. It's not enough. And again, we are literally, we have to in this country, we literally have to depend and ask for opportunity, and for opportunity that your merit says that you deserve. So again, as we continue to battle for social change, there are other things that need to be addressed as well. And when people start saying things that need to be addressed, again, because we are not responsible solely for our own lot. When people talk about some of those things, you know what people say, and there are people in the league that said this. When Kyrie says what he says, there are people that say he's crazy. They don't say that now.
That's a good point. We'll keep it in the NBA, guys. I want to get your thoughts on the Raptors. We saw Fred VanVleet didn't take any questions other than, talking about social justice and Mr. Jacob Blake and that incident in Kenosha, Wisconsin, which is a little south of Milwaukee if you're looking there on a map. The Raptors talked about boycotting the first game, Eastern Conference Finals on Thursday with the Celtics. The Celtics seemed like they were talking about it. Brad Stevens and the guys they huddled. Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, and those guys. They were all leaning towards maybe doing that. But today preceded that and sort of overshadowed that. But let's not forget about Fred VanVleet taking a stand here and showing where his character is and how he sort of viewed this situation from the prism of what the Raptors were doing, who had the bus that said Black Lives Matter.
I was just gonna say
they're
that.
live in Disney. Go ahead, Renee. I mean, the
Yeah,
Raptors, man,
no.
they're not even in this country, and they're about their life.
But they have a very rich history in Canada that people should know about as well.
Yep. Go ahead, Renee.
Yeah, but that's what I was going to say. The Raptors set the tone. They set the tone for the bubble. When there was all this chatter about should athletes be playing, should they be sitting out, the Raptors came rolling up in 3 different charter buses wrapped in Black Lives Matter wording. So they came there saying like, yes, we're playing, but looky here. And they've kept that, throughout. Every time they're answering questions about the topics, we have to give a lot of credit to the originals. Fred VanVleet, he was the first one to start talking about like, we can't really be playing right now. We saw George Hill who said, I'm sick of it. I feel helpless. These are some of the most wealthy people in America talking about they feel helpless. I think if that's not alarming to a lot of people, I think that's what's really changing people's minds. Because if I say I feel helpless, they're like, well, yeah, I could see how she feels helpless. But if LeBron James says he's scared, he's afraid for his kids, that's I think hitting home to a lot of white America because they see him as he should be in this place of privilege, that he shouldn't be scared. So to hear him say that, I think it's really shifting perspectives.
It humanizes those guys. Hey,
Yeah.
Willie, I mean, you talk about this, these guys talking about the stress and the anxiety that they're going through every single day, bro.
It's
like,
real.
this is like, I mean, I go through it too. I mean, we put on this happy face. We're all doing our things, man. But we're all at night when we lay our heads down on the pillow, like, man, this world is screwed up. I can be pulled over. I got pulled over with my Uber driver. He was a white guy, white man. I was like, the hell with him. I'm like, I'm worried that my black butt is in this car. How is this going to go down? So that's some of the things that we have to deal with internally. It's a struggle, man. Hey, Willie?
No question. Again, you all were so gracious enough to have my 5-year-old on here. And so with that being said, I have to prepare my daughter for this world. I cannot let my daughter be hit in the face with something that she wasn't prepared for. Having the answers to the test, one of the things that it does as well, we make a basketball reference. One of the reasons why Dame Lillard can be how he is because he put in the work to be how he is. Takes all the emotion out of it. So when you have the answers to the test, that is something that I feel like as a community that we need to prepare and we need to provide our children with as much as possible. So with that being said, but at the same time, to you all's point, I am conflicted at the same time because my daughter is 5 and there's only a certain amount of time in your life where you are innocent. Right. But at the same time, because I am because I have a ton of melanin, I have to think about this a whole lot differently than maybe someone else. Right. So what it does is to a certain extent, when you look at Black children, to a certain extent, it robs them of their childhood. Yeah. And so that's something that unfortunately we have to do because if you do not provide that truth, if you do not have those conversations, if you do not provide them with some sort of information to deal with the situations that they're in, they can leave the house and not come back. And that's something that, again, I'll just say this really quick. That's something that is really a conundrum in this society as well, because we also live in a society where, as I can say this for all of us here, we grew up in a society as being older here, that there was a level of discipline in your house, and that discipline sort of matriculated out to the teams that you played for in your school, et cetera, right? So now in society, we are peeling that discipline back. And as we peel that discipline back, the danger for us is if I don't provide some level of discipline for my child, and my child, quote unquote, does not comply, you can kill him and not have and won't be punished for it. So with that being said, my kid has to know how to act. There has to be a level of discipline for my child in a society where you are taking discipline away. So it is really that is every time. And my wife can attest to this. My daughter can attest to this. Every time there is some sort of issue that needs to be addressed, we have to think about how does that really apply to us and remove the emotion and really see it for what it is.
How real it is, exactly.
Exactly. Like, again, I've said this before. Richard Branson has said before, don't be afraid to take an opportunity that you're not ready for and grow in that opportunity. Guess what? That doesn't apply to us. If Durham Royale gets the job, it's because D is overly qualified. And by the way, he's got
so
to
much
be a
better
good
than
guy,
everyone else. Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
So with that being said, again, that's what I'm saying. In every aspect of life, it becomes tiresome. And as people have been saying online, take a break from the fight, but go back into the fight. Because again, every aspect of life, we have to look and see how that applies to us, not just for us, but for our children as well.
Yeah, good stuff. D-Dubs, I saw you shaking your head a little bit. Dive in, bro.
My son is 6.
Yep.
My son, he loves people. Even from when he was little, we would go to the park. He would talk to anybody. He used to trust anybody.
Stranger danger.
We've been teaching him about. Yeah, but we've been teaching him about slavery. He, the first grade, actually kindergarten and first grade, he had 2 black teachers in the classroom. So he's learned about slavery. He's learned about certain things. Still trying to keep his innocence because he is innocent. But maybe because I have island parents and we believe in discipline. I grew up in a house of discipline. Spare the rod, spoil the child. He knows. Like, I tell him certain things. He knows he can't leave this house and act a fool in the streets. And I do that now so that when he gets older, he has that same kind of discipline.
Exactly.
And I tell him, there's one thing that I always tell him: never get into hand-to-hand physical combat with a police officer. I'm telling him that now.
All right.
I tell him that never, when you
comply and let your daddy handle it. Comply, I'll take care of it.
Comply. If you see somebody else doing something and they're not supposed to be doing,
I don't care about little Johnny. I don't care about little Johnny.
Get away from
That's
that.
what I say in my house. Don't talk to me about little Johnny. I don't care.
And I talked to him not to follow people. Don't follow the crowd. I told him a story about how there was a situation in Texas. These boys were playing basketball on the way back home. 3 of the boys decided to break into this house thinking the man wasn't there. The boy was outside. The man was there in the house, wound up shooting the kid. But because the guy, even though he was outside, he got life too because he was with them. And you can't follow everyone. And I was just telling my boy the other night, I said, my biggest fear in life is me not being here for my son. The world that I live in right now, I could walk out this door today and for whatever reason, something can happen to me. And I would hate for something to happen to me when my son is 6 and he doesn't have his father. So.
Or happen in front of your son, which was a reality.
The case for Mr. Blake and his 3 kids.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Imagine.
So I think about some of those things every day. That I don't take chances with certain things. I because of him. And maybe 20 years ago, I might have taken a chance. Maybe you get into a verbal altercation with somebody. Today, a verbal altercation, you can get killed by anybody.
It's 2020
in the streets.
So
I don't take chances anymore because of him, because of my wife. But it's tough. But I'm trying to prepare him now at 6 years old. Certain things you don't do. This is what you don't want to do.
Think about this. At 6, he's thinking like an adult man.
That's exactly
at
right.
6.
That's
We're preparing them for life at 6.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, this is what I was
crazy. Go ahead.
I'll go ahead. Go ahead, Derwin.
No. Go
ahead, OG.
No, finish, Derwin.
No, finish, Derwin.
Finish it out real quick.
And then, unfortunately for him, he's had to deal with death because my wife's mother passed away like 2 years ago. My grandmother passed away in January. His great aunt, who was 100, he was at her birthday party last year in Orlando. She passed away this year. She didn't make it to 101. So I've had to explain death to him.
Sure.
So at 6 years old, he understands a little bit about death and he understands slavery. And we try to teach him certain things, how, if it's up to Austin, he plays with everybody. He goes to the playground. He doesn't care if you're blue, purple, or whatever color. He just wants to play.
Exactly.
You know, it kills him right now with this pandemic that he can walk past a playground, but he can't play anywhere. And it hurts me that he has to go through the pandemic and some of this other stuff that's going on in the world today.
And that's where the anxiety and the stress comes from. Not only do we have a pandemic, we got social injustice, social unrest, racial disparities, the criminal justice system definitely not in our favor. OG, your thoughts on this real quickly. The Raptors, talking boycott, which of course was a little bit preceded by the Game 5 cancellations today.
Yeah, I mean, y'all kind of touched most of it. I mean, starting with George Hill and then, filtering down to everybody else. I mean, it's just like, when you're a famous black athlete and people look at them and like, man, they should be happy. They got money, they got this and they got that. But look down the family trees. Like, they still have cousins, brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts. Like, they still have everybody else who has to live in the world who doesn't share some of the same privilege that they may share from time to time. And I'm saying from time to time because just because a lot of us don't walk around and talk about the experiences that we've had that has affected us in some type of way, it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. I mean, they still get pulled over. They still,
Sterling Brown of the Milwaukee Bucks 2 years ago was a victim of police brutality.
They still
out of Walgreens.
Money doesn't stop you from getting racially profiled because people don't. And then a lot of it, I mean, I got partners back home that's sheriffs and police officers that's black, and they personally tell me a lot of times that, like, man, I hope that none of y'all ever run into some of the people that I was in the academy with.
Wow.
And that, that's coming from the inside. So like, a lot of times you look at these police officers. I think I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. It was like, they pull over a black man who's driving a nice vehicle or whatever. And a lot of them be jealous and raging for whatever reason. I mean, and then to piggyback off, I got a 10-year-old son who's big for his age, aggressive, good football player, but he's a happy, fun, go-loving kid. And I'm like Derwin and A. Willie was saying, like, it hurts me sometimes to have to tell him some of the things that I tell him because I'm being serious, but he's a kid.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, he's trying to inhale it, but at the same time, he's like, Dad, I'm just a kid. Like,
right.
But if
why so serious? Because it is serious.
Exactly. Yeah. And I have to use references like, well, you need to listen to me and pay attention to what I'm saying because somebody else is not. You're not their child. They don't have. They don't have
be literally in danger.
Yeah, they don't have to treat you the way that I'm supposed to treat you, and it's just tough because he's projected to be a bigger kid, and and I'm thinking like, one wrong action because he's impulsive. I mean, a lot of kids are impulsive.
Sure.
But for young black males, it's not good to be.
That's out of control.
Dangerous. It's dangerous.
Exactly.
That's out of control. Right?
Yeah, and so it's tough. I mean, I get the FaceTime. I can't wait to see him next week and stuff like that because although I'm making a living doing what I'm doing and he gets the benefit from him, the one thing that I'm missing is time. Like I don't get none of this 6 months back in anything like that, and it's tough.
I can empathize with that as a scout.
Yeah,
no question.
Yeah. Good deal. All right, guys. A great topic, guys. We just spent pretty much 35 minutes.
Derwin already said, but I don't know if you was paying attention. Derwin said the whole show is about to be, as it should be. The world stop right now.
It is. We're only going to get to like 2 or 3 more topics. So we'll have, we'll roll the other ones over to tomorrow. So nothing has changed.
Right.
I will get your thoughts on the Clippers coming back last night. We're all on record. I had the Clippers winning. OG, we're going to start with you because you said Mavs.
I sure did.
You said Mavs and you'd be wrong.
I did
Mavs
I
too.
Said Mavs. He did. I said Mavs and they went out there looking like.
But no Porzingis, so I mean, I don't know if that would have helped last night, but
the Clippers.
Well, how good were the Clippers last night, or how bad were the Mavs? Was it the Clippers were that good, or the Mavs were that trash? Hot garbage.
I think the Clippers was just. I mean, that's what happens when, good players get. I mean, they come inspired and ready to go. I mean, it's that point. I mean, I can't imagine the atmosphere right now in the bubble because it's not typical. Like,
Right.
you know, typically when you at home during the series, you know, you leave the arena, you go back home, you with your family, or you may spend some time with the guys or whatever. And then for the other team, they on the road and they back in the hotel, you know, isolated or maybe out doing whatever. But they're in the bubble, and it's like you walking past people and you know you ready to whoop their butt and send them on up out of there. Like it's a whole different environment. Like
Right.
so we saw that last night. I mean, I saw at the end, you know, Doc left. Montrezl Harrell was out there. He was still willing and dealing, and I mean, they put it on the Mavs last night.
That was a statement last night. I think a franchise record for points for the Clippers, what, 150? Was it 155, 157?
154.
Yeah, 154. Yep. Won by 40, 43 or something like that.
I ain't gonna front. I was happy they
20
gave
something
up more
3-pointers made. Yeah.
They gave up more points than the Brooklyn Nets did against the Raptors, so I was happy they get on about the way.
D-Dub, how about your guy PG, man? He came back, looked inspired, hit some shots, 30-something points last night. You know, not worried too much about the ex-girlfriend and things of that nature. And I'm glad that little Seth Curry wasn't cooking him. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a double whammy right there. When he cheated on her, but you know, yo, girls with a new dude, and you got to play against them. You know.
Yeah, well, he said that he spoke to a psychiatrist, so he felt like he needed to talk to someone.
Playoff P was back last night, at least for one night. It was a one-night engagement.
One night, but me, I'm about consistency. One night doesn't do it for me. You gotta duplicate that in the next game.
Durham's that old teacher, man, with the red pen.
Yeah, you gotta one night. It could be a fluke. You know, I need to see it again
No,
and
right.
again and again.
Right.
What is interesting to me now going forward, you know, with everything that's going on with now them boycotting, everybody's mind, if you're a basketball player, is not on basketball right now.
Right.
So how do you get your mind back to that whenever you decide you're going to start playing again? Or I mean, how are they going to
That's
turn
why I
that
opted
on
out,
again?
Darwin. That's why I opted out. I'm being real. Like that exact thought process that you just said, that's how I felt when I was deciding whether or not I was going to enter the bubble or whether I was going to stay outside of it. I was thinking like, man, knowing what I know now and just seeing what's happening, like, and we're still in the moment. So people can say that George Floyd was killed X amount of time ago. We're in that same moment still. And that was my concern about going into the bubble. I'm like, first of all, my mind's not even on basketball. And secondly, like, what are we doing? And so now you start to see the NBA players and everybody has different responses. Some people, basketball is your escape. So you want to play and you almost want to take out that anger on the court because as an athlete, you know, when things go wrong, that's usually the only place where you can control and make sure it goes right. So I'm sure that a lot of different athletes feel it different ways, but I love that they all came together. That's what was like the most important thing to me. It wasn't, oh, Milwaukee's just sitting out because this is a Wisconsin problem. No, it was Milwaukee sitting out. LeBron tweeted, forget this, we out too. You know, like you see everybody banding together. And this is kind of not, I can't say I predicted this, but this is what I saw happening with all of this climate. You see you see unity on another level now.
It's funny because, like, it's not funny, but we showed in the first segment, we were talking about Game 5 cancellations. The Orlando Magic sent out a statement. We're talking about Richard DeVos, right? We're talking about a huge Republican. We're talking about a huge Trumper. Hell, his wife is the Secretary of Education right now, Betsy DeVos. They put out a statement saying we're in sort of like concert. We're in you know, what we support the Milwaukee Bucks and what they're doing. Wrong is wrong. Short little statement, but it was clear that they are behind whatever the Milwaukee Bucks are doing. That's how powerful this movement is right now.
Big deal.
Willie, get your thoughts on the Clippers last night, man. That'll work. That'll win your championship. You play like that.
Yeah, if you shoot 63% from three and 63% from the field, yeah.
How many threes they hit? Like 22?
They hit 22. Woo! Yeah, so when you do that, you'll win. But you know, one of the things that happened with the Mavs too, and we noticed as players, like after they got that emotional win when Luka hit that shot at the buzzer,
Game 4,
it takes so much emotion. It takes so much out of you to try and replicate that again. Yeah. And you're trying to do that, and you're doing that without Porzingis. And this team during the year, they were like 21st in defensive efficiency. So yeah, so they kind of reverted back to who they were. And then the other thing with Paul George and with players too, one of the things that people will say about players, if especially offensively gifted players, when they tell you if you're struggling, they tell you to shoot and you can shoot yourself out of it. Well, the other thing as well is they started the game out with him on Doncic immediately. So what that makes you
we were calling for this, man.
Right. But what that makes you do is that makes you dial in immediately.
Exactly.
Right? So you have to dial in because you're guarding. You have to be engaged. And what that does is that helps you on the offensive end of the floor as well. So he didn't really have time to kind of be preoccupied with something else because he's got to deal with that guy. Right. So with that being said, yeah, he shot himself out of it. But
shoot to get hot, shoot to stay hot is what I have heard as a shooter. My coaches don't care if I'm making or missing. Whatever way I'm on, they're like, keep shooting because you're either about to get hot or you're going to stay hot. So
right.
And
that defensive thing, that, at that point, you don't really have time to think about your struggles when you're guarding that guy. You got to be all in. So the fact that they put him on Luka, of course, to stop Luka's effectiveness, but that also jump-started PG. So I think that was a brilliant move.
Yep. All right, Clippers got a 3-2 lead.
That's a good
point.
point.
Go ahead, OG.
No, I was gonna say just real quick. That's a good point. I remember when I was coaching, I used to say I look like PG is what I used to call drifters. Like you got players that's really good, but if they get them, if you don't stay on them, they'll drift throughout the game, and that's what he does. Like I just thought about, but like Willie said, if you start him out on Luka, you got to be dialed in from the rip, and that makes a difference in whether they get going or not. So I used to say some players is really good, but if you let them coast, they just gonna coast, and they might give you something, and they might not.
It's almost like the Clippers said, all right, we're taking this thing seriously now.
No, yeah, to your point, OG, one of the things, like from a scouting perspective, when you look at guys like, and Renee, I'm sure you can attest to this also, like when you play, sometimes there's a danger in having supremely talented people on your team where the game just comes too easy to them because they can actually drift. Yeah, they can actually drift and still have a positive impact on the game because they're so good that they don't have to be fully engaged to be good, right? So that's one of the other things as well. Like when you're looking at that, okay, this person is really, really talented, and are they the same? Forget being the same from game to game. Are they the same from possession to possession because they're so talented? And you really see this. I'll say it's really quick. You really see this with bigs because they're so big and they can use their size. They have the proverbial cheat code that they don't have to be engaged to be impactful. So so when I'm scouting them and I'm looking at bigs, the question is not, do you love the game? My question is, do you love it enough to want to make a lot of money at it, right? Because if you love it enough to want to make a lot of money at it, then I think I can get some production. Case in point, and I know this is probably I'm in the minority when I say this, but if you look at it, and I love this dude, obviously, for what he's done as a player. So I don't want people to misconstrue this. Don't get this twisted. But if you look at Shaq as a player, he probably didn't max out, right? Because that was one of the things that the great Kobe said about him. I don't know how engaged he is because he doesn't have to engage like Kobe to be great.
If he had Kobe's fire, man,
he doesn't have to do that, right? So bigs, you have to ask those questions with people that are big or people that have those cheat codes. Like, man, do you just love it enough to want to be good at it? Right? Like, because I got to be married to this thing. That's different for me.
Married to the game.
Yeah. So, when you look at him, he's so gifted. He's so good. And I can tell you guys this. I say this, one of the things I say on other platforms, as a point guard, guys like PG and KD, I'm tight with those dudes because they can do the same things I can do, and they're 6'10" and 7 feet tall. Exactly. Like, man, go sit down somewhere. Let me get some room.
Let me eat.
So those dudes are so talented. I'm like, man, can I live a little bit too? Right?
No, you can't, actually. No, you can't.
That's that positionless basketball.
Right. No question. I can't live. So, so these dudes, man, like they're incredible players and, they can go in and out a little bit and still be impactful. So,
all right, we're going to go through these next 4 topics. We're not going to do all of them. I want to get through these next 4. We got 15 minutes. Renee's looking at the clock. So am I. I got you, Renee. I'm looking at it too. I'm not going to let it go by. Real quickly, Nuggets, Jazz. Nuggets force a game 6. Jamal Murray looked pretty good last night. This was the one series I thought would go the distance. I had the Nuggets winning this thing. Who do you think is going to take this series? And did it matter that the Nuggets forced the game 6? We'll go with you around the horn, everybody, 15 seconds. OG.
This was the same for me. I thought this series would go the full 7, but I'm rolling with Utah. I like Donovan Mitchell. He's been in attack mode. It's been a battle. Although Denver is loaded with a lot of young talent, but I'm going for Utah.
Man, D-Dubs, Donovan Mitchell, he baptized your boy Michael Porter Jr. last night.
Yeah, I saw that, and I had picked Utah as well. But we have seen some nice young stars in Murray and Mitchell, 23 years old.
Going back at it.
Did you see the spin move in the lane by Murray?
Yes.
Oh my! He split the defenders at the top.
We're showing the highlights right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was like, that took me back. I mean, it's some great basketball. You wanted to go 7.
Took you back where?
Back to what?
Back to Jordan days. That kind of move like that. When he spit the La La team, the Lakers, and that's a spectacular move. That's what it kind of reminded me.
Spectacular move. Jordan showing off because he could have just dunked it, but he wanted to lay it up with the left.
Yeah.
It reminded me of that kind of move. So it's been some really good basketball.
Renee Montgomery, you're the only one that gets paid to dribble and shoot.
No, what I think is I want the games to be closer. This series is like, it's
relatively close. I mean, even last night was close, and Denver sort of dominated, but they won by less than what? Like, what do you won about 7 points, 6 points?
No, and when I say that, I don't know. I just like there's certain games where or
the
series.
flow of the game. Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
that's what I mean. Yeah, that flow of the game is. I want it to be different, like because they like we talk about. There's some dogs on those teams in the best way possible. So I just want the flow to feel like that. Like we'll have our spurts of moments, but the way that the Lakers and Portland feel, it doesn't give me that feeling.
Oh, you're talking about overall. I thought you meant just this series.
Yeah,
you're
like
overall playoffs.
Yeah, like I wanted to give me those playoff feels, and they've had great moments. But for this series, the reason I'm saying it is because like I've watched this series, but I haven't been locked into this series like I have the other ones. Is what I'm trying to.
You're right. Out of the 8 series that are going, only 2 of them have been really good.
Exactly.
And this is one of them. And I would say maybe OKC at Houston. You're right. The rest of them are like, it's been a. It's been a yawn. Hey, Willie, real quickly, who you got? I still believe in Denver, but I thought they were the better team. I thought they'd win in 7, but right now it looks like Utah has a slight advantage.
Yeah, I said Denver before. I still think.
I know you and I were the only 2 dummies that picked.
Yeah.
We still got time. It ain't late. Not too late.
Especially if Michael Porter does what he did off the bench, right? Like that's a game changer for them. And then, of course, as we're talking about Jamal Murray, one of the kind of criticisms of Denver was they have so much depth, but when it becomes a situation of who's going to make a play, when everybody in the gym knows what you're going to do, who's that person for them? And Jamal Murray is sort of stepping up and being that person. Because when you win one, you got to have a person like that. You can have all that
dog
depth.
in Kentucky. He became
right. You got to have somebody that's like, you know what? When they know what we're going to do, I can still get something done, right? Yeah, exactly. So he's stepping up in that role. Then the other thing that they did too is Rudy Gobert in this series is averaging like 18 points a game in this series. So he's scoring in this series. And in last night's game, he had 11. So they did a better job with Rudy Gobert as well. So ends up amounting in a victory for them, and hopefully they can win the next 2.
And don't forget,
confirmation bias. I love it.
The Nuggets were down most of this game. They were down double digits and came back and won this thing because of Jamal.
So to your point, Renee's point, that's the deal, right? Like this series has been like they've just been making runs at each other, and not just kind of like knockout punch. It's one person has somebody down on the canvas, an 8 count, then somebody else, like it's not back and forth.
Well, there's something to be said about that. When you can have a game of run with the NBA, you guys know that's a game of runs.
It
anyway.
is a game of runs, but there's a difference. There's a difference in like I'm running, you're running. I'm like, oh, this is lit, or it's like, all right, it's y'all's turn. All right, let me grab the baton. It's my it's like
an all-star game.
Well, to you all's point, like when the games are like they are, like we'll watch them, but that mainstream fan, when you want those ratings, they need to see that back and forth. Right. Or they're going to tune out.
Knock them out, drag them out. I see what you're saying. Real quickly, LeBron James talking about raising a lot of money, millions of dollars for poll workers, trying to bring in some people to work these polling locations, especially in predominantly African-American communities and precincts. Renee, we'll start with you since this is close to your heart with the more than a vote there. How impactful and important is the work that LeBron is doing, trying to bring in these poll workers? Because we all know what they're trying to do on the other
Yes.
side at times, trying to, hurt our franchise and trying to keep people from voting, especially people of color.
Suppress is the
Absolutely.
word. Yeah, and so if you've noticed, LeBron has been talking about in the More Than a Vote, open up arenas. Well, open up arenas is all well and good, but you gotta have people working in them, and that's the problem. If you don't, a lot of the problem with that as well is a lot of the poll workers typically were the older generation who can't go out because of COVID, and different things. So now you have these big arenas, these big places, and no one there to work it. So it would sound great if there would be a lot of people that were just like, hey, I volunteer as tribute. I want to work the polls. It's not realistic, So in turn, to get poll workers, there needs to be some type of incentive or some type of things going on. But I want to just talk about the thought process of that. A lot of people could have just opened the arenas and been like, yo, I did my part. I opened the arenas. Now everybody go to the arena and vote.
Who's gonna work them?
Even if, but even if you have to stand in line 10 hours, because that's the problem. If you don't have workers, there's going to be enough people there for the place to function.
Think about it like TSA. You can have a bunch of
Yes.
workers if no one's working the lines.
Yeah.
With traffic jam.
So for LeBron and the More Than a Vote team to take it a step further, and they're already solving a problem by opening arenas, but to take it that next step and be like, all right, look, we're going to try to raise the money too, to get the people in there so that people can get in and out quickly. Also, too, having a lot of people congregate in these COVID times is not the move. So, I mean, I can't say enough about being a part of just a campaign like this and being teamed up with them, because it's not just that Band-Aid that we talk about. A lot of things, for whatever reason, we can't do much but Band-Aid a lot of things right now. They're trying to find a real solution to this. Could happen moving forward, not just this year, but next year and different years. So this is actually a real solution to voter suppression.
Real quickly, guys, in about 15 seconds each. OG, he talked about, he's like, LeBron's got, he said, I've got half my brain locked in on the games and also trying to help and support Black people. A lot of weight on the man's shoulders. He can handle it, though. This is a guy that I think is built for it. We always talk about that.
Yeah.
It's one of my words. I'm like, I'm built for this.
Yeah.
LBJ's built for this.
I mean, like we call him King James. I mean, but I think a lot of times with that title, we took it too much for just the basketball aspect instead of what he does off the court. And I mean, this is another example of somebody who pretty much came from nothing and has built the empire, and he uses that to help more than just himself and the limited circle that's around him. So, I mean, you can't say enough about LeBron, the man. I mean, he's doing everything in his power to give people a voice of reason and action. And that's what he's doing. And I mean, you can't do nothing but applaud him for it.
So you can do D-Dubs, LBJ?
Yeah, never been a big LeBron James fan, but
we know, man.
I know, but I love what he's done off the court. He's been a role model. He's been a role model. He's been a great example. He's been someone that other young Black men could look up to and be inspired to be like him. I think it's tremendous. I know for myself, I'm going to try to volunteer when I get back to Brooklyn, because like Renee said, most of the people that work in these polls are older people. They're probably retired, they're older people, and they can't be out with COVID going on. So I'm young, I'm healthy, I feel I can help. So I'm going to be looking to volunteer. So
damn, well said, bro. Well said by you. A. Willie, real quickly, 15 seconds or so.
The preamble of the Constitution says life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What LeBron has done by creating opportunities and creating jobs, using basketball to do that, he controls his own destiny. So he has a good life. He controls his own destiny from an economic standpoint. So he has freedom. And he also can pursue happiness by saying and doing what he wants to do. So again, as I say it, I've said it a lot, social change is not enough.
Yeah, well said, buddy.
Hey, Willie, man.
That's why he was focused
over here, man.
I know. He was quiet.
Wow.
Preach, LeBron James game 4 this year, game 6 in 2012 against the Celtics, down 3-2. That old steely-eyed,
The look.
He was ready. I like it. And you showed up and you showed out.
Hey,
I'm trying. You're inspiring us, Renee.
I appreciate it.
Keep doing what you're doing.
She is going down as one of the greats. You are.
We always say
people don't look back at
keep her makeup straight now. Keep her makeup.
That's what I was about to say. Y'all not about to do this to me after this emotional day. I appreciate though, but I actually just enjoyed sitting here listening to, like, this is a group of Black men talking, and there's no more important time to listen to black men than right now. So I just I was enjoying this at the end of the day because everybody's wondering what you guys are thinking, not just the black women, but people are wondering what are black men feeling like. So I had a front row seat. So this was really
A
cool.
lot stressed.
Yeah. You see?
Anxious, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nauseous, sick to my damn stomach, to see another brother going down.
It used to be for me, wondering how I was gonna put, some funds in my bank account. But now that's not even that's not the big thing anymore. I mean, it's really about what kind of impact can I make? I mean, with the platform that I do have.
Sure. Real quickly, we got 3 or 4 minutes. Real quickly, Lucas Giolito threw a no-hitter last night for the Pale Hose.
Yeah.
For those watching at home, that's the Chicago White Sox. 101 pitches, had 13 punch-outs. First no with no fans. Forgot about that.
Yeah, wow.
Night.
Yeah.
So that was
that's
pretty
different.
Pretty cool during this pandemic. Just your thoughts. How cool was that, and how dominant was he last night with the 13 strikeouts to do that?
Didn't they have somebody get hurt though during the celebration or something? Or was that a different team? I think one of their star players hurt his ankle during the celebration of the no, as Larry Laptop would call it. So it's like right when you said the no and talked about all the history, all I could think about was, oh man, they lost a superstar in that. So it's like what is it called on White Man Can't Jump, where it's like sometimes you win the game and you lose the war. Sometimes I felt like, man, that was one of those moments.
Yeah. Hey Willie, how about the catch by Adam Engel last night on that line drive to sort of seal the deal too as well? So we got some great defensive gems as well for the White Sox. Love Tim Anderson. My son loves Tim Anderson, baseball.
That's the guy
brother.
right there.
That's on the descent. A brother got some swag. Cadillac, you know what I'm saying? Like the bat flips, my kid is trying to imitate him. So I'm like, dude, hey man, you're gonna catch a fastball in the daggone ear hole, man. Don't do that.
No, that's the guy. And baseball. And to your point, Larry, and I'm saying this as a guy that played baseball, as a guy that worked in scouting for the Boston Red Sox. Part of the reason why baseball is in the conundrum and the issue that it has right now is because when you look at it from a marketing standpoint, of course, us being basketball people, as great as Michael Jordan is, the game is about the players that are currently playing. Well, baseball, their biggest star is a guy that played 100 years ago, Babe Ruth. They have not moved forward. So with that being said, they're lost in pop culture right now because they have not moved the game forward because they're holding on to the past.
Yep.
And so to see a guy like Tim Anderson, to see other guys that are playing well, to see people talk about taking down some of those unwritten rules, that's something that we need in baseball for sure.
Durbin, OG, real quickly. Lucas Giolito, Durbin, real quickly.
The guy was, drafted 2012, Washington Nationals, first round.
Had an ERA over 6 2 years ago.
Yeah, they gave up on him in 2016.
Yep.
He's come a long way. So that's 8 years in the making. Congratulations to that young man. He pitched a no-hitter. He's come a long way.
Lastly, Major League Baseball, Brewers out, not playing against the Reds tonight.
Right.
Of course, they're right there in the epicenter near Kenosha, Wisconsin. Your thoughts real quickly, 5 seconds. Everybody get in here real quick.
Kenny Smith
Marshall would be upset.
Also,
what about Shotzi, the dog?
Also, if you didn't see it, Kenny Smith with TNT, he walked off the air today. That was beautiful.
Yes, he did.
Oh, I did not see that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Guy from Queens. I'm from Queens. I
He
loved
did.
it.
He took his stance
and took his mic off and everything. He said, I don't feel right being here. I'm staying with the players.
That's why I said it's a different time going on right now. Moments equal momentum. People think it's a game. It keeps trickulating. Like you see how the NBA did it. Kenny Smith did it. There's going to be a domino effect in a positive way. We haven't seen that. I haven't seen it in my lifetime where many people have joined together and band together and no more. What a time.
OG, real quickly before we get out here, 10 seconds.
Hey, shout out to Mama Snook and Diddy.
I was gonna do that.
I seen it was getting time. I want you to get your order in and be satisfied for the night.
Shout out Snook and Diddy. Shout out
they are watching.
Grace. Shout out Renee Montgomery. Shout out the Kales. Kelly Wells Brinkley. Hunker down, baby. We got you. We send you thoughts and prayers.
Sending prayers your way. Yes.
Thinking about you. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Shout out to KC Beauty who did.
I was about to say.
Hey, this girl look like a beauty right here.
Oh yeah, she got me beat. In case so y'all can see her work. She got me beat.
Check her out. Check her out, baby girl KC Beauty. Good friend of mine. Her name is Kimberly.
Good friend of mine.
Renee, you ain't gonna marry you. Just leave me alone.
What up, sis?
But hey, your face is beat to the gods. Dog.
Oh my God.
To the
And he's
gods.
advertising for you, sis.
Yeah.
Get you a man that advertises.
If she lived in New York, I would tell SNY I want her to do it every day.
Oh, this is great.
Let's get out of here, guys. Throw them up. Kevin Mamazette pushing the right buttons. OG, he's in Manhattan. Durbin's down there in that Fountain of Youth. Hey, Willie, he's down in the DFW. But Renee, put him up. We're doing it for you, Renee. You got to put up your.
She put on her thug.
Thanks for watching Esports Extra. The only live
try me like that.
The talks traditional sports and esports. We'll see you tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on Esports Extra. Good night and so long from the A.